People say the Ark of the Covenant is lost, and for centuries, others have tried to find it without success. But it's not exactly lost, it's just super well hidden. And guess what? Some even think it's never going to be found. Well, curious about the Ark of the Covenant's whereabouts? I've got all the details right here. However, be warned, don't get your hopes up about seeing it anytime soon. First things first. The Ark of the Covenant, also known as the Ark of the Testimony or the Ark of God, isn't a boat despite the famous ark in the Bible. The word ark comes from the Latin word arca, meaning a big box. Unlike Noah's Ark, which was a floating box for animals, the Ark of the Covenant was a significant box filled with things important to God. It symbolized God's presence among the Israelites as they journeyed through the desert after escaping slavery in Egypt. They made it to keep the stone tablets with the 10 Commandments written on them. According to the stories, the ark is quite big, like a chest from the 1800s. It's made of wood covered in gold and has 2 large golden angels on top. People carried it using poles that went through rings on its sides. The ark is connected to many miracles. It's said to have helped the Israelites during the Exodus by clearing obstacles and keeping away poisonous animals. When the Israelites reached the Promised Land and crossed the Jordan River, the Bible says the river stopped flowing when the Ark-bearers stepped in. Another story tells that during the siege of Jericho, the Israelites walked around the city for a week with the ark, blowing trumpets. On the 7th day, the walls of Jericho fell, making it easy for them to conquer the city. The Jewish encyclopedia describes the ark as a movable sanctuary for the Israelites, serving as a place for God until they reached the Promised Land and could build a temple. The ark was highly sacred, not to be touched or even looked at uncovered. During travel, it was always covered by skins and cloths, hidden even from the priests carrying it. When stationary, poles held it up to avoid touching the ground. The high priest could only approach the ark when necessary for specific rituals and ceremonies. In this aspect, God is a bit like Sheldon from Big Bang Theory, being territorial about where they sit. Now, to understand whether the Ark of the Covenant has been found or not, we first need to know. The last time people saw the Ark of the Covenant was when King Solomon brought it into the temple. After that, it kind of vanished from history. Some think it got destroyed, while others believe it's hiding somewhere, waiting to be found. Both Jews and Christians see the Ark as God's presence in a physical form. The Ark gets a mention in the Quran, and other Islamic sources are talking about it too. One source even adds Moses' hat, robes, and shoes to the Ark's content. But the Sudanese memoirs tell a really interesting tale. According to them, the Ark had a ruby statue inside, shaped like a cat's head with 2 wings. And get this, even though it was a statue, it could meow like the wind roaring. When it meowed, the Ark would zoom toward God's enemies, making sure the Israelites scored a victory. In the 6th century BCE, Babylon took over Jerusalem and wrecked the Ark. For ages, people have been scratching their heads about what happened to it. In Ethiopia, the biggest religious group, the Ethiopia Orthodox Tawahedo Church swears by a Christian history called the Kebra Nagast. They say the Ark has been kept safe in Aksum for centuries. But most historians think that if the Ark existed once, it probably fell apart or got wrecked a long time ago. It's like this ancient mystery that keeps everyone guessing. Before we talk about where the Ark of the Covenant is, we should begin with the related question of where it's not. Some people think the Babylonians wrecked the Ark when they captured Jerusalem in 586 BC. This idea goes way back, all the way back to the 1st century AD apocalypse of Ezra, and it's mentioned in different opinions in the Talmud. But it doesn't seem likely. The Ark isn't mentioned in the list of holy things taken by the Babylonians, like in Jeremiah's records or the official records. They went into detail about stuff like wick trimmers, fire pans, and shovels, but the Holy Ark didn't make the cut. It's also not listed among the temple treasures at Belshazzar's feast in Babylon, and Ezra's list of restored temple treasures by Cyrus doesn't say anything about the Ark being there or not. So the question remains, what happened to the Ark? If not taken to Babylon, is it hidden in the ruins? No one knows. But boy howdy, do people have ideas. On January 6, 1982, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the late Ron Wyatt, an amateur archaeologist, boldly claimed, "I have found the Ark of the Covenant." This statement might be met with skepticism by many, given Wyatt's status. However, there's a significant number of supporters who believe in his discovery, along with other biblical finds he claimed over 2 decades. If this revelation about the Ark of the Covenant is surprising to you, you might wonder why it hasn't received widespread attention. After all, such a groundbreaking discovery should have made headlines worldwide. The straightforward answer to why Ron Wyatt's discoveries, including the alleged finding of the Ark of the Covenant, haven't gained widespread acceptance is simple. There is a significant lack of evidence. In a nutshell, Ron Wyatt claimed to have discovered the Ark of the Covenant while excavating in the Garden Tomb area, a suggested site for Jesus' crucifixion just outside Jerusalem's northern Old City Wall. During his dig, Wyatt found what seemed to be post holes in the bedrock. One of them had a crack leading underground to a chamber. By cutting into a separate tunnel system, Wyatt stumbled upon this chamber filled with large rocks, hiding temple treasures below, with parts glinting through the rocks and animal hides. At the back of this chamber was a rectangular box with a cracked lid. According to Wyatt, the Ark of the Covenant was inside. A black substance coated the bedrock crack above, the cracked stone lid, and the mercy seat of the Ark. Wyatt believed this substance, which he identified as blood, flowed from the crucifixion post hole on the Roman street above, down the chamber, and onto the mercy seat. Wyatt sent a sample of the black substance to a Jerusalem lab, claiming that the blood was still living and had only 24 chromosomes, 23 from the mother and 1 Y chromosome from a non-human source. According to the Sabbath House newsletter, October 1998, when the Israelis saw this, they exclaimed, "Where did you get this? What is this?" Wyatt, emotionally, responded, "This is the blood of your Messiah." Well, if such an amazing discovery really happened, you'd expect major labs to jump on board immediately, right? Like certified lab reports and multiple sources kind of deal. This would be so mind-blowing that hundreds of people would flock to witness and document it. It's a cool story, but I'm a bit skeptical because of that. Adding to the doubt, one of Wyatt's defenders said samples were taken and sent to Nashville, Tennessee, where Wyatt had them analyzed in a hospital lab. But in another interview with Russell Standish, Wyatt himself said the samples were studied in a lab in Jerusalem. So, where's the lab? Jerusalem or Nashville? Are there any samples left since they claim a bunch of blood flowed down? And why hasn't this evidence been brought out for serious scientific scrutiny? So many questions, and the contradictions about the lab location is pretty glaring. Ron Wyatt claimed to have video footage from within the Ark chamber, but this footage has not been made public and is said to be stored on a single tape in an undisclosed location. Ian Thane, an acquaintance of Wyatt's, is one of the few individuals who claims to have seen the video. According to his email testimony, the footage supposedly does not show the Ark itself, as it was covered by a brilliant white light. Thane's testimony, however, raises questions and skepticism. While he affirms that the Ark was hidden from the camera by a bright light, his responses to specific questions are often vague, filled with qualifiers, and suggest a lack of certainty. Thane's memory is repeatedly cited as unreliable, with statements like, "My visual memory is not great," and "My powers of visual observation and retention are famously bad." Additionally, he admits to issues with the video quality, such as poor color balance, limited lighting, and an amateurish shoot. Thane's overall account, combined with the elusive nature of the video itself, contributes to the skepticism surrounding Wyatt's claim of discovering the Ark of the Covenant. In a recent video featuring Ronald Wyatt's sons, who worked with him at the Garden Tomb site, their testimony adds another layer of peculiarity to the Ark of the Covenant claim. The language used is notably similar, and the discussion lacks substantial details about the Ark itself. One of Wyatt's sons mentioned that his father never disclosed the exact location of the Ark chamber, citing fear because there's been a few people who have actually died looking for it. The cautious and guarded tone in the sons' discussion, coupled with their admission of not knowing the precise location of the Ark chamber despite working with their father at the site, adds to the enigma surrounding Wyatt's claim. It invites individuals to form their own conclusions about the nature of the discussion, and raises further questions about the credibility of the Ark of the Covenant discovery. So, where is the Ark today? Theories about the whereabouts of the Ark of the Covenant vary, and not everyone agrees with the notion that it was taken to Babylon, hidden in Jerusalem, or sealed in a cave on Mount Nebo. Ethiopian Christians have maintained for centuries that the Ark is in the city of Aksum. According to Ethiopian tradition, the Ark arrived in Aksum around 3,000 years ago and has been guarded by a succession of virgin monks in the chapel of the Church of Saint Mary of Zion. These monks dedicate their lives to watching over the Ark and are forbidden to leave once anointed to this duty. The Ethiopians assert that the current Ark in Aksum is authentic, but the Kebra Nagast, their 14th century chronicle, suggests a different story. It recounts how Menelikei, the son of Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, allegedly stole the Ark from Solomon's temple, leaving a forgery in its place. Another scenario proposes that the Ark was taken from Jerusalem by Shishak in 1925 BC and made its way to Ethiopia via Shishak's Cushites. Yet another theory suggests the Ark arrived in Ethiopia from the Jewish temple in Elephantine, Egypt, after receiving it from the Judeans before the Babylonian invasion. However, these claims are contradicted by the fact that the temple Kohanim and Levites would have known the true Ark from a fake, that it was still in Judah in Josiah's time, and that the Judeans would never have sent their most sacred artifact outside the Holy Land. Therefore, it is suggested that the ancient Ethiopian Ark is a copy, possibly from the Elephantine temple. Various other theories propose different locations for the Ark, including Scotland, England, Ireland, Mexico, Japan, North America, and more. The mystery and multitude of claims surrounding the Ark of the Covenant continue to capture the imagination and curiosity of people around the world, and proof of still the Ark has not been found yet. Speaking of theories, here's another one. Rabbinic literature recounts that, in the ancient temple, the Ark rested on a significant flat rock atop Mount Moriah, known as the Shitaya, or foundation stone. This very rock is now associated with the Islamic Kubet es-Sakha, or Dome of the Rock, constructed over the temple's Holy of Holies. The Ark would rest on this rock, and the tips of its poles would press into the sanctuary curtain, providing reassurance to the ministering Kohanim on the other side, even when hidden from view. Beneath the Shataya stone lies the cavern known as Al-Maghara in Arabic, which is sometimes accessible to visitors entering through stairs behind the rock. Muslims believe that praying in this place guarantees a place in paradise. The cavern, however, predates the Islamic structure. The hole in the rock leading to the cavern was already there in the 4th century when the Bordeaux pilgrims saw Jews mourning over the pierced stone on the Temple Mount. The cavern's floor features a circular marble slab that, when knocked, produces a hollow sound. This slab covers another chamber known as Bir el-Awah, or the Well of Souls, named for the noises resembling the sighing of imprisoned souls that emanate from below. The Muslim caretakers of the rock regard the bier with dread, and the slab has never been known to be lifted. In 1871, Lady Burton, along with her adventurous husband Sir Richard Burton, visited Al-Maghara. She recorded that her husband attempted to open the hollow-sounding slab in the center, but was unsuccessful. Rumors persist that the Ark lies undisturbed in the secret chambers below, a stone's throw from its original location, waiting for the right time to be revealed. Do you believe it may be hidden in this secret chamber below? Share your thoughts in the comment section and let me know what you think. Anyway, I know with all these doubts and so many theories, you are asking. It's impossible for us today to be absolutely certain if the Ark of the Covenant really existed, because if it did, it likely got destroyed ages ago. But personally, I think there might have been some sort of Ark kept in the Holy of Holies of the first temple in Jerusalem. Now, even if the Ark was a real thing, we can't be sure it looked exactly like how the book of Exodus describes it. Plus, if it did exist, it probably didn't have all those mind-blowing supernatural powers the Bible talks about. Here's why I'm leaning towards the idea that there might have been an Ark. The book of Deuteronomy mentions it. People usually think this book was written during King Josiah's time. So, if Josiah had the Ark during his rule, it would have been chilling in the Holy of Holies in the Temple of Yahweh in Jerusalem. That would make the book of Deuteronomy a pretty close to the source kind of thing. But, you know, the mysteries around the Ark keep us guessing, and who knows how close the real thing was to the descriptions we read about. Another reason I have a hunch there might have been a real Ark of the Covenant is because the way it's described in the Hebrew Bible is pretty similar to other known arks from the ancient Near East. The basic deal of a chest with poles on each side for carrying it matches up with other artifacts we found from that time. One example is an ark discovered in Tutankhamun's tomb. Now, just to be clear, that one from Tutankhamun's tomb isn't the Ark of the Covenant. It's a different Egyptian ark that happens to share a similar structure. Regrettably, for the many treasure hunters currently on the hunt for the Ark of the Covenant, I suspect that even if the Ark did exist, it probably got destroyed when King Nebuchadnezzar II and his Babylonians sacked Jerusalem in 587 or 586 BC. This destruction event included razing the first temple where the Ark was supposed to be. While there's no detailed account on the Ark's fate in the historical records from that time, references to the Ark vanish after the first temple's destruction strongly suggest that this was when the Ark was either lost or annihilated. It's highly likely that the Ark, if it was a real thing, met its end. The Babylonians wouldn't have had any reason to preserve the Ark, and obliterating it would have been advantageous in breaking the spirit of the Judites, who held it in great religious esteem. Moreover, the Ark was said to have gold elements, and in a world where gold was exceptionally valuable, the Babylonians would have seen an opportunity. Melting down the gold from the Ark could have been a practical way for them to repurpose it. Although the archaeological evidence is limited due to restrictions on excavating the Temple Mount, signs of widespread devastation in ancient Jerusalem from the time of Nebuchadnezzar's conquest strongly suggest that the Babylonians spared nothing, making it highly unlikely they would have spared the Ark of the Covenant. The only conceivable way the Ark of the Covenant might have survived the First Temple's destruction is if an exceptionally devoted and stealthy group of Judites managed to sneak it out of Jerusalem before the city fell and hide it in a secure location. However, this scenario seems highly implausible. The Ark is described as a sizable object, requiring a team of men to carry it. It's challenging to envision a group of at least 4 Judite men carrying a massive gold chest escaping during the siege of Jerusalem and successfully concealing it somewhere safe from destruction. Even if such an escape were possible, there's no reliable documentation supporting this theory. The surviving accounts of Jerusalem's destruction make no mention of the Ark. If the Judites had indeed saved the Ark, one might expect a detailed account of its salvation in their narratives of Jerusalem's fall. However, such an account is absent. Furthermore, even if the Ark somehow survived the destruction of Jerusalem, the chest was said to be made of acacia wood. Wood, even if gilded, decays relatively quickly. Few examples of surviving wooden artifacts from ancient times exist. If the Ark was saved and hidden somewhere, unless it was in an exceptionally dry environment, the wood would likely have deteriorated within a few generations. As we wrap up this journey into the mysteries surrounding the Ark of the Covenant, the ancient relic that has captivated imaginations for centuries, one question lingers in the air. What's your take on the fate of the Ark? Do you think it was secretly spirited away? Or is it forever entwined with the ancient ruins of Jerusalem? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more intriguing content, and ring the notification bell to stay updated.